Have you ever found yourself snapping over something tiny? A spoon left sticky in the sink? A text that reads K? A driver who doesn't signal? In an instant, the ordinary smolders, then flares. Your voice gets sharp, your chest tightens. Maybe you slam a door or go silent with cold heat. And when it's over, it feels out of proportion. You wonder what just took me over. Why did I explode over that? If you felt that, you're not broken. You're human. And according to Jung, those explosions are not random. They are signals. They are flare guns from a part of you that has been living in the dark, trying desperately to be seen. Let's start in the kitchen. You're already tired. The day asked for 100 small compromises. You open the dishwasher and see it crammed thoughtlessly. A small thing. Something in you says, leave it. But another voice says, this always falls on me. The heat rises. You don't just see bowls and plates. You see disrespect, invisibility, a life you didn't choose. You hear yourself say something sharp. Suddenly you're arguing about something that isn't dishes at all. Jung would call this a complex being activated, an emotional knot with its own charge, its own story, its own gravity. A complex is like a cluster of old experiences, feelings and beliefs that organize themselves around a theme: not being heard, being controlled, being abandoned, being judged. When life touches that theme, the complex wakes up and seizes the wheel. You are still you, but now your voice carries the voltage of the past. One way it shows itself is through projection. Your system casts old patterns onto whoever is nearby. The late reply becomes, they never care. The messy counter becomes, I'm the house servant. The sigh during dinner becomes, they're bored with me. In projection, your inner world paints over the outer world, fast. So fast you don't notice the brush. But why small things? Why not the big ones, the heartbreaks and catastrophes? Because small things are safe enough for your defenses to relax. The psyche is clever. It doesn't seek to destroy you, it seeks to be heard. The spoon becomes a symbolic stage where your shadow, the disowned, unspoken, unlived parts of you, can perform what it's been forced to mime in silence. Jung called the shadow the thing you would rather not be. The impulse you judge, the need you minimize, the anger you were not allowed to feel. Many of us learned early that certain emotions got love and others got distance, so we buried them. But the buried are not dead. They gather power. They wait for a moment to surge up and declare, I exist. The surge feels like rage, but beneath it is a younger feeling. Fear, grief, hunger, a plea for protection. Notice what comes with your micro-explosions: heat in the face, clenching in the jaw, a sudden urgency to correct, to control, to exit. The body is the first one to know. Jung insisted that symbols speak through sensation. Your shoulders tightening may be your anima or animus, the inner opposite, protesting a one-sided life. Your shallow breath may be your inner child, bracing for the same old abandonment. The body is a door. Don't kick it shut. So what do you do when the door swings open and the storm races in? First, name the weather. Say softly, even under your breath, a complex is being activated. This tiny sentence does something miraculous. It creates an inch of space between you and the force. You're not denying it. You're acknowledging it without becoming it. Jung called this stance not identification, but relation. You relate to the complex as an event, not as your identity. Second, let your senses remind you that you're here. Feel the floor through your feet. Press your thumb to your index finger, gently, 3 times. Name 5 things you see, 4 you feel, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, 1 you taste. You are not a fuse. You are a room with windows that open. Third, ask the question the shadow understands. What are you protecting? Not, what's wrong with me? Not, why are they like this? But what are you protecting? The complex is not a villain. It's a sentry. It learned to shout because whispers didn't keep you safe. When you ask what it protects, you tell it, "I'm listening." Now, we move from heat to meaning. Imagine the sink scene again. Beneath the anger, might there be a fear of carrying everything alone? Beneath the anger at the short text, might there be an old ache of waiting by the phone, praying to be chosen? Beneath the anger at the traffic, might there be a deep dislike of being trapped, of having no say? Feel the body answer before your mind does. The body doesn't lie. Jung loved inner dialogue. He called it active imagination. When you are calm enough, minutes later, hours later, sit with a notebook. Draw the small scene like a comic strip. Give your anger a shape, a color, a voice. Ask it, why now? Write down what it says, even if it feels childish. Especially if it feels childish. The child part in you is often the one throwing the pan. It finally has your attention. Keep it. Sometimes you will find an archetype behind the door. The warrior who never got to say, enough. The mother who always had to be nice. The king or queen who was forced to abdicate in their own home. Archetypes carry big energy. That's why small triggers feel huge. When the archetype inflates, the voice goes grand. This always happens. I'm done. I can't live like this. Recognize the grandeur without worshipping it. Bow, then breathe. Now let's talk about repair. Explosions leave ash. Jung was not naive about damage. He also believed fiercely in the psyche's drive toward wholeness. Here's a gentle sequence you can try after the flames die down. First, body repair. Shake your hands. Splash cold water. Step outside and find a tree. Put your back against it. Imagine roots moving down, anchoring rage into soil. The tree is a symbol of the self, the center that holds opposites. Borrow its posture, upright, patient, alive. Second, relational repair. Speak from the other side of the wave. I'm sorry I snapped. I got flooded. I think what I'm really afraid of is X. Replace the blame story with a protection story. It changes the room. People soften when they hear the truth beneath the noise. And if you are the one who received the explosion, you can still bring wisdom. That landed hard. I need a pause. I'll come back when we can listen. Boundaries are not punishments. They're rivers' banks. Third, pattern repair. You will notice your triggers repeat. The same themes, just new costumes. Make a trigger map. 3 columns. Scene, story, need. Scene. The sink. Story. No one cares unless I yell. Need. Shared responsibility, appreciation. The map turns thunder into language. Language is how we make storms navigable. A word about authority figures. Notice how often the explosion happens around someone who carries a symbolic role. The boss, the parent, the expert, the older sibling, the partner who seems so sure. Jung called these figures carriers of projection. We load them with energy from our mother complex, father complex, teacher complex. They become screens. When you fume at your manager for a small correction, pause. Is it this person? Or is it the old classroom where you were humiliated for getting it wrong? Complexes have a taste. Learn yours. There's also the opposite pattern. You never explode. You absorb. You go quiet. You call yourself easygoing. But inside, pressure builds in a silent room. If you never let a small truth out, a big truth will break the door. Micro-explosions get a bad reputation. Sometimes they're the first honest sound after years of polite suffocation. The work is not to erase the sound, it's to tune it. Here's a simple daily practice to tune your anger without losing its message. At the end of the day, choose one irritation and write a 2-line prayer to your shadow. Line 1. Thank you for protecting me from... Name the threat as the shadow perceives it. Line 2. Tomorrow, please help me say... Write the boundary you'll try. Small, concrete. I can't take this on tonight. I need a moment to finish my thought. Let's plan cleaning on Saturdays. You are giving your warrior a script. Warriors love a clear mission. At work, translate your heat into clarity. Before you send that sharp email, ask, what is the ask I'm hiding inside this anger? Extract it. I need 2 hours notice on any last-minute changes. Then send it clean, not as a stab. As a stake in the ground. In love, learn to signal the storm before it hits. I feel a wave coming. Can we pause? Build a ritual with the people you care about for how to hold the pause. A glass of water, a walk around the block, 10 breaths at the doorway. Rituals tell the nervous system, safe, we can come back. At home, give your shadow a playground so it doesn't burn the house down. Hit a pillow, box with air, play drums on your thighs. Dance ugly for 2 minutes to a song that makes your blood move. Sound is medicine. Let your voice growl in the car. It's easier to be gentle in real life if you let your wildness have a safe hour. Remember, anger is a compass pointing to a boundary, a grief, or a fear. It is not the enemy. It is a messenger who learned to speak loudly because nobody listened when it whispered. Jung didn't ask us to silence our messengers. He asked us to meet them at the gate. Midway through this journey, I want to ask you something. What tiny thing has set you off lately, and what do you think it was secretly trying to protect? Tell me in the comments. Your clarity might help someone else. And if this lens on anger is helping, tap like and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. Let's return to the body for a moment. Notice your breath as a tide. In, out. Imagine the exhale carrying ash away. In Jungian language, you are moving from possession by a complex to a relation with the self, the part of you that can hold contradiction without breaking. You can be angry and loving, tired and strong, disappointed and hopeful. The self is the circle around the opposites. Some of you carry a suspicion. If I allow my anger, won't I become cruel? Jung would say, you are less dangerous when you are conscious. Unfelt anger leaks as sarcasm, contempt, or withdrawal. Felt anger can be shaped. It can become a boundary, a change, a decision, a prayer. For those of you who fear your temper because you've seen it harm, here is a soft challenge. Choose one person you trust. Tell them the theme of your explosions in one sentence. I explode when I feel unseen. Ask them to help you catch the first 5 seconds. The first 5 seconds is the window where choice still lives. Build a phrase you both recognize. Red light. Storm watch. Use it to slow the scene before the script tightens. This is not childish. It's sacred. It's 2 souls building a safer theater. Now the deeper layer. Often our explosions aren't only about the trigger or even our personal story. They are about the soul's hunger for balance. Jung called this enantiodromia, the tendency of things to turn into their opposite when one-sidedness goes too far. If your life is all compliance, the soul will send the rebel. If your life is all order, the soul will send chaos. If your life is all giving, the soul will demand a taking. Your anger may be the psyche's way of swinging the pendulum back to center, not as punishment, as correction. Here's a beautiful image. In alchemy, the art Jung loved as a map for inner work, fire is not just destructive, it is transformative. It turns raw into golden, crude into clear. Your anger is fire. Without it, you stay damp and shapeless. With too much, you burn the vessel. The work is to be the alchemist and the fire. To warm, not char. To clarify, not scorch. To practice this, create a small furnace in your week. A set time where you deliberately face the thing that irritates you and transmute it into choice. If clutter burns you, 15 minutes of music and motion while you clear one surface, just one, narrating kindly to yourself, "I'm making space." If lateness lights you up, craft a boundary line for the next invitation. "I'll wait 10 minutes, then I'll head out. Can't wait to see you." Light, firm, loving. The furnace is where we let heat move matter. There is also a mystical kindness to extend to the part of you that explodes. It didn't arrive from nowhere. It was trained by a history, by a culture that praises composure and calls truth-telling rude. It may be carrying grief for generations who were not allowed to say no. When you feel the surge, imagine a lineage behind you, faces you never met, exhaling with you as you finally say, "Enough." You might be the first one to break a vow of silence. Honor that, even as you learn a gentler tongue, and when you fail, and you will, there is still a path. Jung believed the psyche seeks wholeness through repeated encounter. You will meet this complex again. It will get subtler, you'll track it sooner, you'll laugh with it sometimes. Laughter is a sign the archetype has shrunk to a human size. You'll lose it again, then find it. This is not proof you're failing. It's proof you're alive. If you want a simple mantra to carry from this, let it be this. My anger is information. I will listen to the message, not worship the messenger. When the spoon in the sink becomes a spark, you will feel the old story arrive. You will feel the body prepare to shout. And somewhere between trigger and flame, a breath will appear. In that breath is your new life. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heart. It beats whether you are calm or raging. It has survived every storm you've ever had. Imagine its rhythm slowing the scene. The soul speaks in symbols, fires that warm houses, trees with deep roots, rivers that flood then recede. You are allowed to be weather. You are also allowed to be the sky. So next time a small thing makes you explode, treat it as a message. Ask what it protects, map the scene, repair with truth. Practice a pause that respects your nervous system and your relationships. Give your shadow a safe place to sing. And remember, in Jung's language, every encounter with the shadow is an invitation to become more whole. Not perfect, whole. Walk back into your kitchen. Look at the spoon. It is just a spoon, and it is also a symbol. The gift is not in choosing one or the other. It is in learning to see both and choosing your response with a steadier hand.